Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a sort of Walking Dead television series villain comparison. We're going to be comparing Gareth and the Hunters to some of the other previous villains we have had prior. Alright, so we've had quite a few different groups of villains in the Walking Dead television series over the years. Of course, going into year 5 now, or season 5. We won't really be talking about the comic book series villains because those, we've seen most of those in the TV series version up to about Negan, roughly, right? Which is a new villain that we're going to see in the TV series probably within about a season or so, hopefully as soon as possible. And so we won't really talk about them too much because, once we get to that point, we can touch on that there when we get to season 6, season 7, maybe 8. We see some of the other ones that are involved with Negan's group and the Saviors and that in the TV series. But so far in the television series, which villains do I like the best, or what do I think about Gareth's group and the Hunters versus some of the previous ones? Well, so far throughout the series, I think you have to go with the Governor as being the best villain so far. Now, all in all, at least that's my opinion on it. Now, I'm not really considering Shane in this because I don't really view Shane as a villain. He's not a villain in the sense that, he's a villain of Rick's group, because really when you look at the group itself, it was Shane's group first, and then Rick kind of came in and he kind of took the group because of the fact that his relationship with Lori and, his previous relationship with Shane and all that. So he kind of took over the group, and, Shane kind of, you had that battle between them for control, struggle for victory, and of course, one of the two of them wasn't going to live, and it ended up being Rick that won and Shane being killed off. So I don't really view Shane as like an external villain threat. He kind of morphs into a villain if you like Rick. It depends whose perspective you're on. In the TV series, they did a great job of showing both sides to it, and there's a lot of people that were rooting for Shane, so he's not really a villain we can compare, because he's not really a villain. He's just a character there, and the circumstances ended up being that way, and that's what happens. So kind of like an internal struggle within the group itself. So with regards to the Hunters and Gareth, Martin, everybody involved with that group, Terminus, Mary, and everybody, Alex and all of them, really what we're looking at here is we're comparing them with Gareth as the leader to, the Governor's group, the Woodbury, the second group he kind of had too, with Tara and the others. And also Joe's group and Dave and Tony, which are really just two guys anyway, so they don't really, they're villains, but you can't really compare them. Obviously, they're not going to be as good because they were killed, very quickly after we met them. And there's been some other characters we met throughout the series, but those are the main ones, the prisoners and that kind of thing at the prison. So really this one's going to come down to, Gareth and the Hunters versus the Governor's couple groups that he's had. Now, let's start with Gareth. So Gareth, in terms of a leader bad guy, so to speak, or he's kind of like in comic books, there's a type of character or archetype, I guess, for a villain that you refer to as a mastermind. And what a mastermind basically is somebody that by themselves, they're not very strong. They're not strong survivors. They're not powerful. But they control others, and they create systems that are extremely, extremely powerful, like Terminus, for example, and the Hunters, where you have a group of people, and what they do is just insane, right? But Gareth himself not being that strong. And I think Gareth is a really, really interesting villain. I did like to see him a lot. I like the way he talks all the time, like he never shuts up. I like how he's very intelligent, and he's become totally desensitized to what they're doing, to eating people, killing people, doing everything they're doing, which is just insane, right? Institutionalized evil, so to speak, and at Terminus and all that. He's a really weird villain, but he's not somebody you can relate to in any capacity. I feel like they did a good job in the TV series of kind of showing Shane's side, showing the Governor's side, and kind of how you can sort of see how twisted and evil he is. but yet also give him some personality, give him some character, give us a meaning behind the way or the reason why he acts the way he does and what's going on with him. They kind of tried to do that with Gareth a little bit too, and the Hunters a little bit, and we saw some of that. We did, yeah. But I just didn't feel for it. Like, I didn't feel like that makes sense for you to all of a sudden start eating people and, tracking people down and that, even if you got hungry or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, in the Walking Dead comic book series as well, they only got one trade paperback, which is only 6 issues, which is not that much. In the TV series, they got even less, really, if you look at it. They only got the finale, and then even just part of the finale. They didn't even get the whole finale, just like the last little part. And then they had 3 episodes, really. With the second episode, they weren't even really that in it, like maybe a little bit here and there. So they really were not used that much in the TV series. I mean, they were maybe something similar along the lines of Joe's group, but they felt a lot bigger because, of course, they had Terminus, they had captured Rick's group and everything like that, and they had, had them there for a while, and we had to wait for the season to switch. But if you look at that, they only had a little bit of time in the show. I think, personally, they could have been used for more. I think they could have been used for more time in the series. But I can understand, too, why they would want to blow past them, because I think with the Hunters, it's hard to kind of see their side of things. The more psychologically we get into their heads and we kind of understand why they're as evil as they are, the less we like them, because we don't, as a normal person, you don't feel like what they're doing is natural. It doesn't feel like it could naturally get to that point, or you could evolve to that point. And they're not relatable. They never were, and they probably never will be, which is why I think they wanted to kind of blow past them. They are, however, great villains in terms of horror and in terms of tense and the emotions, and how much you can root for Rick's side so easily because and the survivors so easily, because it's like good versus evil, pure absolute evil. And that is kind of an interesting bad guy to see too, because it makes it really intense. It makes you really want to root for the good guys to win, and defeat them, which was really intense in the end. The third episode was one of the best we've ever had for sure. So I gotta say, I was really shocked to see the episode. Overall, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more time with the Hunters and the Terminus. But like I said, I can understand they're not relatable. So you might want to blow past them without concentrating too much on that darkness that is what they do and is them. So I enjoyed the TV series version of the Hunters a lot. I felt like the comic book series version, the first time I read it, was a little bit more eerie. But it's kind of one of those things that, after you kind of hear it the first time, if you're just watching a TV series, you never read the comic book series, for you it might be one of the scariest things you've ever seen, that type of thing. On TV or whatever. And it is. They are definitely intimidating bad guys, and they're very, very tough. Lure people in. They've got systems down. They got a lot of firepower. They have a lot of people. And when they were at their peak at Terminus before they got attacked and everything went to hell. But really strong group and really evil, man. Very, very evil. Which is one of the reasons why I would say still my favorite villain is the Governor in the Walking Dead television series so far. And his group. Which group do I like better? Probably the first group, to tell you the truth. The second group, aside from maybe Mitch and Tara and Pete, none of the other characters are really developed. But I like the first Woodbury group a lot, even though the ending was not that epic. I still like the group a lot. I like to see how Andrew was kind of mixed in there, and how the Governor's evil. He's a bad guy, obviously, but he's got some things you can kind of relate to, some human aspects to him, where I feel like the Hunters and Gareth and the others don't really. You meet a character like Martin. Do you feel like he really has a lot of human left in him? A lot of reasonable human qualities? No, not really. So. Yeah, so, I can understand why they just wanted to get it over with and get past that, use them as that horror kind of suspense thing, which worked out really well. I would like to see them a little bit more, but I'm really satisfied with how it ended up, and the episodes were short but sweet, that's for sure. So in terms of them as a group, unfortunately, I think they'll be kind of forgotten about in a couple seasons. People will probably always remember how scary that time was of the show, one of the most horrific times of The Walking Dead. But all in all, I don't think they'll go down as one of the best villains in the series if the series is to go on 10 or 15 seasons. I think the Governor will be remembered as one of the best there is. You'll always have Shane remembered as well too, and then there'll be some others that come up like Negan and the others as the show goes on. But I don't think that the hunters or the termites, so to speak, aside from people just remembering that one quality of they were really horrific, they were really, really scary, just so terrifying, they'll remember that. But aside from that, they probably won't remember too much. That is if we're totally done with the hunter storyline, because can't say for sure, but most likely it seems like we are. So anyway, let me know what you guys thought about the hunters, Gareth, the others. Martin was certainly drives home that kind of horror, dark aspect, unhuman aspect that these guys are really like monsters were, or people, because there's females too. Shouldn't say guys. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about the hunters. Let me know what you thought about Terminus. Were you disappointed with how it ended up in the end? Do you think it could have been used longer? Like I said, I'm happy with it. It could have gone on longer, but it was definitely short and sweet. And they were definitely some of the most exciting episodes of The Walking Dead ever. That's for sure. Definitely. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about all of that. If you like this video, as always, you know what to do. Please thumb it up below. If you want to help support the channel, please share it, please favorite it. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you tonight, for the review and everything, and I might do another Q&A after this, so you guys will see that soon if it's up. Anyway, yeah, Trev, as always, same peace.